So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good in the hood. So guys, I've just seen the Ring Magazine pound for pound rankings. Canelo Alvarez is ranked number 1. Crawford is ranked number 2. And, Inoue is number 3. Alexander Usyk is number 4. And Josh Taylor has moved up to number 5. People have asked what I make of the pound for pound list. And I wanted to give my thoughts. I actually think... For me personally, I think the pound for pound list is fairly accurate. Taylor's obviously jumped up. Taylor was Taylor was in some people's pound for pound list and he wasn't in some. Now he's jumped up to the top 5 and I think he'd be in everybody's pound for pound list now. In terms of Canelo at number 1, I think that's a dead on certainty. I don't think anyone can argue with Canelo being number 1. Some people have argued that Terence Crawford is too high and his resume doesn't... I think Terence Crawford is there. I don't think his resume is as bad as what people make, and I think he's there on skill set. I think I think he's ranked there. Not so much what he's done lately, but because of the fact that he's a 3-weight world champion, and he's a former undisputed 140-pound champion, and for me, his skill set is on another level. So I think people have got him up there for that reason. By the way, I don't think his wins at welterweight are that bad, to be honest. I know people say, oh, well, he beat a washed-up Amir Khan and he beat up a washed-up Kell Brook. The fact of the matter is he beat them well. And he beat, David Benavidez, who was a very good fighter. He beat Jose Benavidez, his brother, not David. But yeah, like I said, I think Crawford is a very, very good fighter, and I think he should be number 2 pound for pound. Spence was quite low down. He was number 9. I was quite surprised Ring Magazine had him so low down. I personally think that I agree with the pound for pound rankings. Now, some people may say, well, Taylor's moved up to number 5. Some people may say that's a bit high, but I actually think that him being undisputed, I think he definitely can go up there, because remember, Errol Spence hasn't been, although a lot of people think Errol Spence is better than Josh Taylor, the fact is that Josh Taylor is undisputed. So you have to respect that. You have to give credit to that. That's a big achievement. Undisputed is no joke. So for me personally, I think him being up there after 18 fights, I think that's a big achievement. But again, I do think that resume is important, and I do think although Taylor's got a good resume and I do think the 140-pound division, like look at the guys that Spence has beat. Mikey Garcia, he's beat Sean Porter, he beat Danny Garcia, he beat Lamont Peterson, although washed up Lamont Peterson. He beat Kell Brook. He beat Chris Algieri. I would definitely say that, Spence's resume is a lot better than Taylor's resume, being, that Spence is, number 9. Because when you look at it at welterweight, there's a lot better fighters. Like, Taylor beat Regis Prograis, Victor Postal, and your Baranchik, and all those guys. They're all right, but they're not as good as the guys at welterweight, and especially not as good as the guys that Errol Spence has beat. So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to resume as well. I think the resume is very important. So yeah, I think Taylor's done well. He beat some good fighters, but yeah, I definitely think Spence should be a lot higher than 9. The Ring Magazine had him at number 8 or 9, something like that. So yeah, the top 5, that's what it was. Alexander Usyk, yeah, he's undisputed cruiserweight champion, and I think he should be there. I think a lot of people question him, that what has he done lately? But the fact of the matter is, I think he's a very accomplished fighter. And, he's moved up to heavyweight. He's had a win over Chisora. I don't think there should be any argument about Canelo and Crawford. I know people question. I think, for me, skill set is something. And let's be honest, Crawford's skill set is second to none. I think Inoue is also a special fighter. Inoue is a special fighter. I think Inoue, again, he should be number 3. I think he deserves to. I think he's an unbelievable fighter. Thing is, with these pound for pound rankings, they go up and down. You lose a fight and that's it. You're out of the pound for pound list. Lomachenko. I'm not sure. I think Lomachenko might have been there. He might have been number 7 or 8. I'll have to check it. I don't know. I definitely think that Jamel Charlo should be on there. He might have been. I'm not sure. I don't think he was. Tyson Fury was on there. I think he might have been number 10. Some people may say that's a very low down. But when you look at Tyson Fury's resume, he's beat Wilder. And again, I don't think he's there because of his resume, because if you look at it, Joshua's got a better resume than Fury. But I actually think Fury, for me, they're putting him up there because of skill set, and I think they think that he's got a better skill set. So it's not all... See, it's not... When you look at it, it's not all about resume. It's about skill set as well. You know, when people are putting you on pound for pound list, yeah, all of them have a good, decent resume. They, like, Crawford was an undisputed champion. But it's about your skill set as well. It's about how gifted you are. And I don't think anyone can argue that Terence Crawford is a very gifted fighter. Whether you think his resume is strong enough or not, it's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that his skill set is on another level. So I think skill set has something that needs to be brought into equation. You know, you can't just say, oh, well, no, well, he ain't beat no one and this, that. Well, no, his skill set is something second to none. And like I said, he was an undisputed champion. Now, it's not his fault who was at the 140-pound division. People say, well, who's he beat? Well, it's not his fault the 140-pound division was what it was when he was there. It is what it is. So the fact of the matter is that Terence Crawford, for me, is an elite fighter, and I believe he's got unbelievable skill set. So for me personally, I think he definitely deserves number 2. I think Canelo's number 1, and I don't think anyone should even question that. And I don't think anyone should question Canelo, because Canelo's definitely number 1 pound for pound. I don't think anyone can question that. I don't think anyone can question Canelo being ranked where he's ranked. I think he deserves his ranking. I think he's got the best resume out of everyone on that list. If Pacquiao beats Spence, you can make an argument that he goes to number 1. With what he's done in boxing and the fact that he'd become a unified welterweight champion, I think you can make an argument that he goes to number 1 in that list, because when you look at what Pacquiao's done throughout his career, then beating Spence, that would definitely put Pacquiao at number 1 pound for pound. I definitely think so. If he beats, like I said, if he beats Spence, right, and if Spence beats Pacquiao, I think Spence should move up very high as well. I think Spence should move up to probably number 4 or 5. I'm quite surprised Ring Magazine have got him that low down, especially after a dominant win against Danny Garcia, who's a very good fighter. Yeah, I'm quite surprised they've got him that low down. But I definitely think when if Spence was to beat Pacquiao, I think he'll be in the top 5. When you look at that resume, that'll be thick. It'll be a great resume. It'll be a thick resume as well. His resume will start becoming thick. And then if he fights Terence Crawford afterwards and beats him, wow, and becomes undisputed, then you're looking at an unbelievable resume for Spence. So, yeah, I think Canelo right now is definitely, without question, number 1 pound for pound. I think Terence Crawford, for me, is number 2. I'm not going to have it if people question his resume, because like I said, it's not just resume, it's your skill set as well. And I think no one can deny Terence Crawford's skill set is on another level. Number 3, Inoue, again, his skill set's on another level. A lot of people, again, question him. They say that, well, he had a close fight with Nonito Donaire, and Donaire was old. The fact of the matter is, this is a small man moving up so many weight classes. And he's winning fights. Right, number 4, Alexander Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight, champion. He hasn't put a foot wrong. And to be honest, his next fight looks like it's going to be Joshua. So that, again, is going to be a cracker. And that's one where, again, I believe Usyk will be tested. And if Usyk wins that fight next, he's number 1 pound for pound. If he beats Joshua, Usyk is number 1 pound for pound. Without question. It's not even close. For me, he's the number 1 pound for pound guy in the world. I don't even think there should be any discussion, because he's just beating a guy that was at heavyweight, that's a super heavyweight, and if he beats him, wow, Usyk for me catapults to number 1. And that's what I mean. I think there's a lot of things that can change the pound for pound list. Like, I think Pacquiao beating Spence, for me, puts him number 1. I don't care whether he may not even be in the top 10 right now. I think that victory and then what he's done in his career and the fact that he would be beating a unified welterweight champion, I just don't know how you can't put... I think Pacquiao would definitely be number 1. He'd be number 1 pound for pound fighter, which would be incredible, because at his age to be number 1 pound for pound, I don't know whether that's ever been done before by a 42-year-old to be ranked number 1. But I definitely think if he beats Spence... And then, remember, he's coming off a victory against Keith Thurman, who was a world champion when he beat him. right? And really, right now, Manny Pacquiao should be a world champion. Remember, he was stripped from his from his WBA belt, right? And if he hadn't, this would have been for a unification fight. So Manny Pacquiao would have had 3 belts if he hadn't been stripped. So to be honest with you, I don't know. There was some rumors that, you know, WBA may reinstate Pacquiao. I don't think they will. But yeah, I think the pound for pound list for me is fairly accurate. I think Crawford and Canelo are definitely my number 1 and 2 pound for pound. I think for me, they're the 2 best fighters in the world. And most importantly, someone pointed out that Canelo was asked if he wasn't, obviously he ranked himself as the number 1, but if it wasn't for himself, who else does he think is the best fighter in the world? And he said Terence Crawford. And I think that in itself tells you how much respect and how much that Canelo rates Terence Crawford, and how much he looks at Crawford's skill set and thinks, wow, this guy's a really good fighter. So although we're sitting here and saying, oh, Canelo, or, you know, Crawford ain't fought nobody, but Canelo, who is, in my opinion, the number 1 pound for pound, is looking at Crawford and saying, wow, that guy can fight. And when Canelo is saying that, you know, we all should listen. So I do think some of the comments about Crawford's resume is unjustified just because of the things that I mentioned. I think his resume is not the greatest, and it should be a bit better. However, I think, like I said, it's not all about resume. It's about skill set, and like I said, Crawford's skill set for me is on another level. I think his skill set, you can't be telling me that, like some people were saying Josh Taylor beat better guys at 140, but you can't be telling me, right, Crawford did exactly what he did, became undisputed, but you can't be telling me Josh Taylor's got better skill set than Crawford. Most of us would pick Terence Crawford probably by stoppage in that fight. So I don't understand. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think Crawford, like I said, fought Gamboa. And then I think he's fought some decent fighters at welterweight. I know people say he's fought nobody at welterweight. Look, Horn was a champion. He beat him. You know, Khan and Brook, yeah, they were past their prime. They weren't the fighters they were, but still good names, right? Benavidez, he's a good fighter. He can give any welterweight, you know, a tough fight. You know, Mean Machine, again, he could again give any welterweight a tough fight. That's no gimme for any welterweight. So I do think Crawford's resume is overlooked a little bit. I definitely think his resume is a lot better than what people think. But it doesn't help when the 2 most popular, the name fighters that he probably fought were Khan and Brook, and probably Khan, and he was like more globally known than anybody that he's probably been in the ring with, and he was past his prime. For me, I actually think that Terence Crawford's best win is Gamboa. Like at the time when he fought them, were probably Gamboa or Victor Postal. I think they were good wins, but yeah, I think it's a tricky one. I think it's a tricky one. I think yeah, Terence Crawford definitely for me is a top fighter. Like, I don't think anyone saying he shouldn't be on the pound for pound list, he shouldn't be top 10. Come on, man, bro. Like, he 100% should be. He shouldn't be number 1. I know ESPN rank him number 1. There's no way Terence Crawford should be ranked above Canelo. Canelo is the number 1 pound for pound, without question. But Terence Crawford for me is my number 2, without question. And I think Canelo and Crawford should be number 1 and 2. I know certain pound for pound lists have Inoue up there, but I don't think Inoue should be ranked above Crawford. I think Canelo and Crawford definitely for me. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think should be ranked number 1 pound for pound? Number 2, do you agree with the Ring Magazine? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.